Hi everyone. Thought I would update you because I had my second Zometa last week. I don't know why I have my reading glasses on to see you because you're not that far away. Yeah, I had my second Zometa last week. I had my, I believe, 10th Lupron. And then I had labs done. So, I mean, I'm still in like I'm a year, after diagnosis and stuff. But it's funny because I don't usually look back at my old vlogs, but the first 24 hours of the Zometa were like okay, and then I started getting like really cold, and that's kind of when things I remember like started last time when I had the infusion. So I just wanted to like tell you, what my side effects were like this time. Better overall, by the way. And then I was looking back at old vlogs because as the side effects were coming, I couldn't remember like what else to expect, just so I would like have plans in place. Like if I was nauseous, I'd make sure I have like ginger ale or something or a bucket next to the bed. And I couldn't remember. So it was the first time actually since this whole cancer thing that I went back to my vlogs and I actually watched 3 of them. I watched like the first Zometa, like the day after Zometa, something like that. And the one where like my hands were like all stiff around Christmas time when I had the antlers on and stuff. And it was interesting just watching myself from back then, because obviously that was actually 7 months ago. And I just like wrote some stuff down. I never prepared, but I prepared today. I wrote some stuff down in my navigation journal. Thank you, Kristen. Just about things I noticed from and have learned, I guess, since my last Zometa that I just found interesting. I'm like in a really good place right now. I don't really understand why, but I'm just going with it. On a side note, before I forget, I did start gabapentin. Today is Monday. I started it, I think, on either Friday or Saturday, for the hot flashes. When I went for the appointment for the Zometa, and I did meet with the oncology nurse, it was like, I went in, had my blood work labs done. Everything's, I believe, was normal. Met with the oncology nurse, went back out to the waiting room, and then went in and had the Lupron first, which is funny because I think when I had my first Zometa infusion, it wasn't in that order. She asked me, and I'm like, I don't know, like, whatever. So she did the Lupron on my left arm, and then hooked me up with the IV in my hand for the Zometa, which I did over an hour. So I'm gonna be looking down a lot, and it's like 5 o'clock at night, so I can't see as well. That's the reading glasses. But I do have to be quick because I have a chicken pot pie in the oven that I did not make from scratch, and learned after I had cancer that I actually like chicken pot pie. I don't think I ever had chicken pot pie before I was diagnosed. Just random factoid. Oh, but she thought that I had had enough with the hot flashes, or just being hot and sweaty all the time. And she's like, why don't we just try it and see? So she gave me enough pills to do like a morning, afternoon, night time. And I'm like, I'm very sensitive to medication in general. So like, let me start with the morning one first and see how I do. And I mean, it's only been a couple of days, but I have noticed I seem to get an adrenaline rush, which is weird because gabapentin is supposed to make you tired. I haven't been tired at all. I get this weird adrenaline rush. I did 17 minutes on the elliptical, and I'm like, why am I doing this? And when I was done, I didn't really feel well. I've noticed that my blood pressure has been like low. It was like 109 over, I don't know, some normal number, but it was 109, which is low for me. Like, I'm glad it's not high, but it's just kind of weird that I started feeling kind of like spacey and stuff. So I'm definitely not going up to the 2 gabapentin. I'm just going to stick with the 1 and see how things go. I don't know if there's some link. I emailed or sent a message in the gateway to the nurse to ask her. So I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, so yeah, second Zometa. I woke up at 5 a.m. the following, was it the following day? Yeah, 5 a.m. the following day. I had the injection or infusion at around 11:30 a.m. So it was just a little bit less than 24 hours. I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning the day after the Zometa. I was totally freezing. It passed, and then I got super hot. You know, I slept with my fan, which I do all the time anyway. I forgot that, like, I get this cough. I get a really dry cough. It's gone now, but looking at my old vlogs, I was coughing a lot then too. It's just like a dry cough. Last time the cough was so bad that like my voice started going, and I noticed on, when was it? I called my boss because I didn't go into work because I had the fever. So of course, you know, anything with COVID, whatever, I wasn't gonna go into work. But I remember I had a hard time talking on the phone because my voice was like cracking out. And then I was super achy, like, you know, like your body hurts, like you're just sore everywhere. But definitely not as bad as it was the first time. So it's flu-like symptoms, which they tell you to expect. Oh, I wrote that both sides of me hurt to sleep on. Probably just because I was achy. Oh, that was something interesting. Yeah, I haven't felt sick in a long time. So it kind of, like, when all that stuff was happening, I forgot what it was like to feel like you're sick. You know, I've had the hot flashes and stuff, and those are just side effects, and it's different. Between, like, you know, when I had COVID and I had reactions to the vaccines and stuff, I forgot what it was like to, like, not be able to get out of bed and just feel uncomfortable with your body temperature and all that stuff. I don't mean like too hot. I mean, you're hot, you're cold, you're hot, you're cold, and you just don't feel like comfortable in your own skin. And it was a little like PTSD because I forgot what that felt like. But then I also remember, like, glass half full, that it doesn't last. Like, even with the COVID thing, it doesn't last. You feel like crap for a certain amount of time, and then it passes. And I was, like, proud of myself that I could at least see now, like, being a year after all this, and 2 years, really, since, God, since all my health issues were going on, that I could see faster and not get, like, caught up in, like, oh, I feel horrible, I didn't really get upset about it. It was just like a noticing of, oh yeah, and like, just like little micro memories of like being in my bed and having to ask for, you know, stuff to eat or drink, and like having to hold onto the wall to get to the bathroom because I was so dizzy and achy and all that stuff. Yeah, a little PTSD. Anyway, so I watched my Zometa vlog from 6 months ago. And I was just commenting on things that I had said. So compared to 6 months ago, because like now I'm a year out. I'm a year out from diagnosis. I'm like 11 months post-op at this point. So I wrote that I'm happy that my boobs aren't like concrete slabs anymore, because back then I was saying, like, you know, every time I lay on my bed, it hurts. It feels like I have two concrete like blocks here, duct taped to me or something. And I don't feel like that anymore. They're like way more pliable. It's hard to see that, like, at the time. They're like, yeah, it'll feel better in X amount of months or whatever. But my boobs are like so much more pliable. I mean, obviously they don't feel like regular boobs, but not for nothing, my regular boobs were saggy and stuff because I was getting older. These are definitely not saggy, but they feel more like regular boobs. I will go in to get them tweaked a little bit, but I'm very happy that they don't feel like concrete slabs anymore. As I was also talking about like the nerve things, like I'd just be sitting there and all of a sudden I get like a zzzt, like pain in my boob, and it would just quick go away, which was just like nerve endings and stuff. I don't get those anymore, which is great. I'm actually, like, right now wearing the kinesiology tape. I had a pair of strips here, so I'm like, I'll just put them on. And it was a little bit sensitive, but like I have so much more feeling in my body. It was a weird thing to be excited about, but I was in the bathroom yesterday when I was showering, and I shaved my armpits, and it was just like I noticed that, like, I can lift my arm all the way up and I could shave and I can feel all of this. This was like completely numb after surgery for quite some time. And it's so crazy, like, about even like back here, about like how numb it was. And now, like, I mean, it still feels a hair different, but for the most part, like, it's so much better. I mean, I can feel it. It's just crazy. At the time, 6 months ago, I was confused about like all this stuff is going on. I don't know who to talk to. You know, I don't know who to go to for what, which I guess was overwhelming. And like now, I mean, the gateway's helpful because all your doctors are there, but like I know now who to talk to. Like if this is bothering me, I know who to ask. If that's bothering me, I know who to ask. So I guess like if people are watching this and like, let's say that you're getting your first Zometa and you're pretty, you know, fresh out of surgery, like even a couple of months, you know, they say it does get better. And like, I'm so much better than I was, you know, after my first Zometa infusion. That was December. So August, September, October, November, December. That was 4 months post-op that I had my first Zometa infusion. So another thing that I commented on, like aesthetically, was the dog ears on my scars. So like where the scar, notice here too, like how much I care about how things fall, because here's my cowl neck shirt, but like it's already like, see how it's off-centered? Like here's my necklace in the middle, and this should fall like here, and it's not, but I'll take that, have that taken care of. At the, so like at the ends of my scars, it's almost like there was like a little bit of like extra skin or something just from them, like, you know, putting the two pieces together and sewing them. It's just like a little bump or something. And they told me like that's common. They're called dog ears. They can just like, you know, take care of it cosmetically, and it's not a huge deal, and it's very common, like nothing's super to worry about. And like when I'm ready, I can just have it taken care of. And I noticed like I looked in the mirror and I'm like, I don't have this anymore. And I didn't have any other surgery done. So, yeah, it's interesting. Like my boobs, like when I look down, were kind of like square looking, I guess. And because they've softened up and settled into whatever, they're not as square looking anymore. I still haven't like totally accepted them yet. Mostly because the scars are still, I mean, the scars are, you know, prominent, and it will take time for the scars to lighten too. But it was funny how the dog ears were just like gone. My toes felt weird. I wanted to wear socks because my feet were cold. But I hate how socks feel. There was just a weird thing after the Zometa, this time, I mean, about my toes. I don't know if it's a sensory thing or just like a body temperature thing. I have no idea. This time also around, I took Claritin. I did not do that the first time because I didn't know that was a thing. I heard about it on a Facebook group that it was a thing to take Claritin. I still don't quite understand what it's about and how it's connected, but it's just Claritin. It wasn't a big deal, so I bought a 10-pack of them. I took one, like I didn't know how much you're supposed to take, you know, or how often you're supposed to, like how many days you're supposed to take it or how you're supposed to spread it out. So I just did the day before the Zometa, the day of Zometa, and I think the next 2 days after Zometa. And yeah, I don't know what it does, honestly. I mean, I can't say it was because of that something happened. I do know that people take it also for chemo, and I think it keeps them from getting nauseous. So there must be something, because it's a histamine. There has to be something with histamine blockers with how the Zometa works. I don't really know, but the Claritin, I mean, I feel good, and today's Monday, so I'm just about a week out. So yeah, Claritin. Or it's not just Claritin, like you could use like Zyrtec or, you know, similar allergy kind of meds. And I use like the 24-hour Claritin when I took the pill. It was super hot out, like high 90s when I had the infusion. So I felt like going outside didn't help. I couldn't like breathe. I did take Tylenol pretty much right away when I noticed that, like I didn't know I had a fever. I was getting cold. Like I said, I woke up at 5 a.m. I was freezing cold. And like throughout the day, I just kept getting colder. I had a hoodie on, had my socks on, had sweatpants on, went into, I couldn't work. I worked like an hour and a half, and I'm like, I can't work anymore. I had to be all bundled up. I still had my mittens out, had my mittens on. And then I just had like blanket on over blanket. I had 4 blankets on and I'm like, I'm still cold. And then around like dinner time, I was like, oh, maybe I should take my temperature just to see. And I didn't feel hot in any way. My head didn't feel hot, didn't have hot flashes. I was too busy being freezing. And then I took my temperature and it was 101.9. And I'm like, oh crap, like I could have had a fever all day for all I knew. And like, I didn't know. One thing I don't know, because I had 102 fever last time too, it didn't go over 102 this time. So it was slightly lower, but I don't like really ever get fever. So for me, a 101.9 is like, whoa. And the fever lasted, I think like 2 days. I woke up in the morning, but like I was taking the Tylenol. Like once I noticed that, I was like, I'm not going to be a martyr this time. I don't need to be like, oh, I can handle this, whatever. Took the damn Tylenol. It's 2 pills, like whatever. And I kept on it like every 6 hours, except if I was sleeping, I let myself sleep. And then I think it was like 2 days and I woke up in the morning and it was like 99 point something. So I knew once it got there, like I was, you know, headed in the right direction. And the 99 was like with the Tylenol being worn off for like a couple of hours or something. So old vlogs, I talked about the weight gain. It's still frustrating now. It's still frustrating now with the weight gain. I weighed in, I'm not going to tell you how much it was, but I weighed in at my second Zometa and I was like, holy shit. I thought like here, I mean, their scales, I think, I know they're more accurate, but I feel like they're higher. My blood pressure was normal, which I was super excited about, but I was floored with what I weighed in at. Like I see these pictures, I mean, I can take this camera and like, you know, tilt it down, and now I have my hair in a bun just because I went kayaking yesterday and my hair was like all like knotty and whatever. But like I could do stuff to make myself look thinner, but when I look at pictures of myself, I'm like, I look so swollen to me. It's all like my face and my belly. Like that's where all of it is. Like my legs are fine. It's just, and even like my lower belly isn't that bad. It's like my midsection between my belly button and my boobs. But the doctors keep saying like, you know, your body is not happy with all the shit that we've done to it. Like we've medicated it and put it through all this shit. Like we forced it into menopause. It takes a toll. And I just have to like, you know, I just have to get that it is what it is and, you know, do the best that I can. The gabapentin, by the way, I've heard, it lowers your metabolism great, like quite a bit. It's so like the chance of you losing weight, even if you tried like 60% of the time, like you won't lose weight, even if you try to lose weight, which is lovely. Oh, so why take the Zometa, however you say it. I don't know if I knew this last time. So the Zometa is, again, not a doctor. This is just what I've been told and what I've read. It's 2 things. The Zometa, like tamoxifen causes bone loss over time, increases your risk of having like osteoporosis, osteoarthritis, and all those things. There was an Austrian study that showed that Zometa makes that not happen. It basically strengthens your bones and keeps the calcium in your bones. And given that I had the kidney stone too, helps on top of that, because my kidney stone was like mostly made out of calcium phosphate, I believe. So it keeps my calcium in my bones where where it should be, while I'm taking the tamoxifen to keep my bones strong and like decrease my risk of getting, you know, arthritis and all those osteo lovely words. The other thing too is if by chance your cancer does return, it does keep it from getting into your bones, so that like your chance of having bone cancer would be much smaller. So like for the pain in the ass that it is, and you know, whatever, knowing that it does that makes me like, you know, feel much happier. All right, my timer's gonna go off in like 15 seconds, so I gotta hurry up and get the chicken thing out of the oven. I forgot, last time I had a rash on my belly, like pretty predominant. I did not have that this time. I wrote the fever started the night of, oh, it was the night? Alexa, shut off. I have to hurry up. Last time I had the Zometa, the fever started the night that I had the infusion, and this time it didn't start until like 5 a.m. the next day. Last time I forgot, my lips were blue because my teeth were chattering because I was so cold and I probably had a fever then. Didn't have I was cold, but I didn't have the teeth chattering, lips blue. I was nauseous last time. Wasn't nauseous this time. But last time I was also in a rush when I was going there, which I remembered. This time I got up earlier, so had like full breakfast, made sure I went there on a full stomach. Though I was there for like 4 hours just because they were like really mobbed that day. It was kind of creepy. A lot of people were getting chemo that day. So by the time I had the Zometa, it was like 11:30, 12 o'clock, and I hadn't eaten since like probably 8 or so. And by the way, like I saw people there that were having chemo that just like got lunches. Like I went on my own, which I wasn't supposed to do that, and I forgot. I went on my own because I thought I'd be okay to drive home, and I was, but I forgot they told me don't drive yourself. So note to self, not to do that next time. But yeah, there's a couple across from me that like it was lunchtime, and she went up to the cafeteria and got her, assuming it was her husband, like some food, and they're just like sitting there having like lunch in the room while he's getting chemo. It's just interesting. So you can bring food and drink and stuff. I wasn't aware that you could do that. I had no nausea this time. Last time I couldn't get out of bed the day after because I was so sore. I was sore this time too, but not to that extent. I was still like drained. And what I wrote was, I still am fun. Because like we just came back from Germany a couple of weeks ago, and like I did do things, and it's like, as for all the crazy from before, it makes me so happy that like I can still do those things. Granted, I do it wearing like Brooks sneakers that are made for people with Achilles issues, but still I was able to go and do that. So I had like hardcore symptoms like for 24 hours, and then it was just like boom, fever went away, everything seemed like it was fine. And what I wrote here, I don't know if you can see that, it says surrender and don't try so much. I've had all these things popping up about not trying so much. And not surrender like giving up, just like, you know, things are what they are, and just like roll with the roller coaster and see what happens. God, I gotta take the, I have to finish this. All right, I'll just talk really fast. Compartmentalizing. I'm noticing that I'm compartmentalizing, I don't know why I'm putting the accent on the wrong syllable there, cancer from my regular life. Like, I don't want to make my whole life about like, I'm a breast cancer survivor. I just don't want to do that. It's a part of my life that I'll never forget and will always be there. But it's like this section, and there's all this other stuff that's like my life, and like this is just here, which I think is helping me overall, like mindset wise. And I wrote resignation on there, and I don't mean like, oh, I'm so resigned from like doing everything. That's not what I mean. I mean, like, there's a peace and calm that's found when you give up control. Like, I can't control certain things about my body, and it is just what it is. So I just have to understand that. And trusting in other people, like letting that go. You know, when I'm there having the infusion done, like, I need to trust that the nurse knows what she's doing, that she's gonna like, you know, take care of me. And like, everyone like has a role of what's supposed to happen. And if you try to micromanage everything, like, you don't know everything. That's what they're there for. And it's not just doctors, it's like friends and stuff too. It's amazing the trust I have in other people that I really didn't have before. And again, came back to the same word, which was surrender. Not in a bad way, not in a giving up way. I feel like I'm like burning my chicken right now, so I have to hurry up. But there's, you know, last thing is I'm walking, and I think I mentioned this before, but there's a runway show called Runway for Recovery. And my friend that actually got me this nominated me to be a model in the runway show, which is coming up in October. So 4 of my friends said they would come and cheer me on, and like tickets are expensive. It's a fundraiser, you know, but I've raised a little over $700 with donations from people. And my most recent one was someone who donated anonymously and said something about my my something and my grit. And like, I'm like, who uses the word grit? Like, I don't know who donated on my behalf, but it was just so interesting because like I do have grit, and I would get texts from people like, I'm so sorry you've gone through this. People I didn't know, because I sent the fundraising link out to, I think, everyone in my contact list. I'm just like, here you go. You know, if you want to donate, great. If you don't, that's great too. And they're all like apologizing and stuff. I gotta walk out there. But I'm like, don't apologize. Like, I know it sucks, and I'm here. And honestly, I have not been more calm and chill in I don't even know how long. There's a peace and the surrender of just like, let the professionals do what they need to do. You take care of you. You don't have to be a martyr. If you're in pain, it's okay, you know, get on a doctor. Just take Tylenol or whatever, you know, like, it's okay. It's going to be okay. So I'm going to leave you there and get that before it goes. The possibility of just surrendering and trusting and knowing that it's all going to be okay. Till next time. Bye.